Am I enough is a profound question to explore, because there's so many different avenues we can explore within the narrative of this question. When it comes to our family, our partners, our friends, are we enough? Are we bringing enough worth to the dynamic so that people feel our presence, they feel seen, heard, valued? Are we really showing up for the people in our lives, for our work, our environment, our neighbors? Am I enough is really exploring the conditions of how we as a human and how we operate with each other. And the anxieties that we can have, the beauty that we can share. It's a really full spectrum experience, because as we are with others in relationship, we really get to explore our inner landscape and the dynamics that we share. And so, am I enough is a big question to ask ourselves when it comes to our relationships, and it comes to our job, and it comes to the people in our life and how we're showing up. But also, I want to ponder the even deeper reflection of, just by existing, am I enough? Because this is a spiritual idea, a religious idea, a philosophical idea that many have explored. This idea of, is my existence a beautiful thing, or is there something wrong with me being here? Because when we dive into religion, there's many different religions that express that, no, we are meant to be here, it's a beautiful thing. And then other parts of religions that express, no, it's bad that we're here and we shouldn't be here. And we can see this across even science, where there's so many ideas of like, oh, the planet's being destroyed because of us. And it's all about the narrative that shapes reality. Because if we as humans lived in harmony with the earth and rebuild the waterways and grew food locally and really cared about nature and the environment, it doesn't matter how many people live on this planet would thrive. There isn't a limiting amount of resources. And why I'm bringing this idea up is because that also reflects us. Nature is a part of us, so our own inner resource. There is endless resource within us. And when we really begin to tap into that and realize there is no limitations to the energy that exists within us, the energy that life, divinity, God, whatever you want to call it, has gifted us, we begin to realize that there is a spring within us that can flow endlessly. And so I live in the narrative, I guess to, not share this at the end, but share it now. I live in the narrative that I am enough, we are enough, and there's a lot of dynamics to explore within reality, and we can also show up in bad ways and have to recorrect ourselves and humble ourselves and forgive others. There's a dynamic to relationships that we have to explore. It's not always perfect, but when we show up in that aliveness, when we show up in knowing that we are already worthy, reality begins to shift in beautiful ways when we're humble enough to realize that. And then we share in grace, we share in beauty, and we don't create chaos in other people's lives. And I mean, I'm grabbing a lot of ideas right now within this, so I'm just going to bring it back to, we're going to explore in this episode, are we worthy? Why I believe I am worthy, I am enough. And I hope that this supports you. And I hope that this helps you break down your conditioning, your religious conditioning, spiritual conditioning, the intensity that life can be at times. And as we're doing this, I'm gonna cook Carne Asada Tacos. Such a beautiful dish. One of my favorite dishes as I've been exploring in my life and really questioning myself a lot. And if you know me, you know how much I question myself. And this is a dish that I would eat so much. I would probably say pizza and tacos were the primary two things that I would seek out in life. Pizza was always a little bit more comfort. Tacos is just, it's such a staple part of eating, of cuisine, of culture, and it's so good for you. It's like so much protein, so much fresh vegetables, the beautiful corn, gluten-free for people who are sensitive. It's just such a nourishing dish. And I guess also why I'm presenting this dish is because in the idea of am I enough, I want to bring more nourishment to us. I want us to realize that I am enough to eat this beautiful dish, to have all these fresh vegetables, to have the beautiful corn that is so tied to culture, that I am enough for that, and to eat beef, because beef it's getting up there now, and to give ourselves that ability to be nourished by the produce that we gather is a big part of claiming our worth, a big part of allowing, especially, growing up in, and everybody's situation is different and everybody's financial situation is different, but allowing ourselves to treat ourselves every so often, to give ourselves what we desire, is a really beautiful thing, to allow ourselves to know our worthiness. And we don't have to, overly seek out food because we don't feel worthy and that makes us feel worthy, but we can allow ourselves to have a beautiful meal and just really connect to the beautiful experience of being alive. And so I already made the masa. My ratio is 1 cup masa to 0.8 water, because later when I'm rolling it out, I'll dip my fingers in water to roll it out a little easier. I mean, it always depends. When you feel the masa, it's like, is it dry? I roll it up in a ball. Like right now I'm seeing some cracks. It's not coming really smooth, so I know that the edge of the tortilla is gonna have cracks. So I'm going to add a tiny bit more water to this when I dip my fingers in, to really get it to that great consistency. And then there was tomatillos at the store, so I had to make salsa verde. I was gonna make red salsa, salsa roja, but once I saw the tomatillos, I love salsa verde so much. It's my favorite, if I had to choose between the two for a taco, by far. And so I'm going to take the green onions and the tomatillos, and I'm going to char them in the pan with no oil. A lot of the times when you char, you don't want to add a lot of oil, because it starts to caramelize the vegetable instead of giving that nice burn to it. And then I got onions, white onions, garlic, jalapenos, lime, cilantro. I'm gonna char the peppers, the green onions, the tomatillos, and then I'm going to cut in the garlic and the onions and put it in later in the cooking process. Probably the onions will go in at the very end, because I like the fresh crunch of an onion in the salsa. And then the garlic, I'll probably add in the cooking process when I'm cooking it down. I'm realizing, so there's one thing, when you're making a salsa, if you don't have a food processor to chop it down, then you have to chop it down. So I hope I can find my food processor. Okay, there it is. Let's see if I have the other part to it. You know what? I think I may just chop it down to show you, because not many people have a food processor, how to do that. It's very simple. Once I'm done charring, I'll just cut it down with my knife, and then I'll cook it down. And so, yeah, take a breath. Yeah, sometimes when I explain things, it's like, woo, there's so much going on in here. And cooking for me is such a sensory experience, that trying to put it into words is, merging out of the sensory experience. So yeah, it's a beautiful thing to do. So I'm gonna take off the husk of all these tomatillos, get this going, and yeah, it's beautiful how food reminds us of how worthy we are. I mean, the abundance that comes from the land, just the flavors that we get to experience. I mean, when we really connect to flavor and sensation within our palate, how many of us have had a slice of bread with butter, or an amazing taco, or one of your favorite dishes growing up from your grandmother, and just like how nourished you felt, how safe you felt, how the flavors and the smells and the presence of family or loved ones or whatever it may be takes us to that place of, I am worthy, like I am cared for. And, for those out there that may have not had those experiences growing up, this is what we're also going to explore within this video, is that beyond family, beyond how we grew up in those conditions, you are enough, that you have inherent worth inside of you beyond the value that you've placed into external reality or into other people. And it's beautiful when we get to have the harmony in our life of having beautiful experiences with others. And if you did not have that, you can still find the worthiness within you and move through that trauma. You're not cursed. You're not never going to experience beauty within you. It's about moving through that shadow, moving through that darkness, and reclaiming the light within you that is who you actually are. And when you claim that light and you acknowledge the shadow, it's when you bring into harmony your entire existence. And you begin to see life on a deeper level because you're not hiding from things anymore. And you're allowing yourself to truly forgive, which then brings you deeper into the light of who you are. And then those shadows don't have a hold on you like they used to. All that from a taco. Whoo! So I'm going to put these tomatillos in here. Yeah, I think that's what I've had to explore a lot in my life, is that I have so much worth beyond the worth that others place on me. Because we look at the world and so much of how people live is all about finding external worthiness, which, not to say it's not a beautiful thing. We all need beautiful relationships. We all want to feel seen, heard, and loved. Yes. And what we are missing so much from the world and so much from people is an understanding of internal worthiness beyond the external. To really know who we are in the presence of life in God. And I like to say life in God for whatever people believe. I believe in God, but if that's something that you're exploring, then life, just existence, just what we are a part of, And so, yeah, we really have to explore all of this. We really have to explore all of this. Or do we? Who knows? So I'm going to throw these in as well. Get some char going on that. So as I said, no oil in there. Get the peppers in there. You can already see that it's starting to get a little bit. And I'm just going to roll these around in there. Oh, what did I do with my tongs? Psh, not even ready. Not even ready. There they are. Maybe I should have grabbed my tools before we started. But, I think that's the beauty of this show, is I'm just flowing with it. I'm doing a lot to prep beforehand, but yeah, it's good to take off, and this is why I've created this show, is to take off the polish of social media, to take off the polish of how we show up in the world. Like, yes, we need to refine ourselves to show up in a certain way. We can't just be blobs and slobs and just not showing up and care for others. That's a whole other thing. But we have to let go of this perfectionism mentality. We have to let go of this idea that we have to show up in exactly certain way for others, or they will not value us anymore. And I mean, there is truth that we all have our own conditionings of how we perceive others, especially, in romance, like man provider, woman nurturer to the children. Like, there's expectations, but also we have to let go of that to some degree, because if we create this perfectionism mentality, we live in a fantasy reality that's not true, and people's feelings aren't honored, people aren't fully seen, because you're not seeing the actual person, you're seeing the projection that you've placed on the other person, and then they don't get to live in their own freedom anymore. They don't get to just experience their own worthiness, because reality is all determined upon the projection and the perception. Just a small thought to ponder as I flip these tomatillos. And I'm just going to keep turning these a bit. I could have let them gone a little bit longer, but they're all just getting charred. Carbon steel, cast iron is really good to do this in because it retains so much heat. I mean, I could have done it in the stainless steel, but this will definitely retain so much more heat and get to a higher heat point than this pan will. Yeah, I got that going. I'm gonna grab, if you don't have a cutting board for garlic or onions, get on it. It's game changing. So I'm just gonna take the garlic, get some cloves. I'm gonna get a decent amount of cloves. Going over here to the compost. It's because, so I'm gonna show you, what am I gonna show you? What am I even doing? No, I'm just joking. So I usually like to marinate the meat, but I didn't marinate it. So I'm debating if I want to add garlic to it. I'm not gonna add any, you can add spices to it, chili pepper, cumin, coriander. I'm not gonna do that because I feel like the salsa is already gonna have so much flavor that I want just the freshness of the beef to come through with the freshness of the salsa. So I'm not gonna add any spices, but I'm debating if I want to add garlic to the meat to get a little bit of a char with the garlic, or if I'm just gonna add the garlic to the salsa. I think I'm gonna do both, add a little to the meat, maybe a little lime juice before I cook it. We'll see, you know, and that's the beauty of cooking, is it's a creative process. I don't go into every meal, you know, I go into it with like, oh, I'm gonna make tacos, but I don't know if I'm going to char the salsa or just roast it in the oven, or, you know, it's allowing yourself some creative freedom allows yourself to not feel so defined by food. And it's a part of the artistic process in cooking, because I feel like a lot of people nowadays are so wanting recipes, and recipes are so beautiful. And when you can start to see food beyond a recipe, when you can start to see the different avenues you could take within creating a dish, it starts to become more like playing an instrument. And instead of playing the same song that you know enough chords, you know enough scales, you know enough of how the instrument works to where you can start to create your own. And I feel like that's where the beauty of art really starts to emerge, and where you really start connecting more with what you are cooking. And no, you know, no shame or guilt if you're someone who needs a recipe and that feels like the place that you want to be in. There's no like force of like, oh, you must now become an artist. But I'm just, you know, sharing the potential of opening up into a new reality and having a deeper connection to your food, having a deeper connection to the cooking process, to the sensations, to the feelings, to, you know, having something surprise you and fucking up. It could be, you know, cooking really shows us how to live, because when we're away from the recipes, we start to live more in how life actually is, where we're figuring things out as we go. We're evolving, we're expanding, our creativity is growing. And so, yeah, just a friendly invitation, no pressure. And if you're watching the show, yeah, that's what I'm trying to support you in, is that I'm taking you through more of a raw and honest journey in how I approach cuisine and approach cooking for myself. I'm going to only do half the garlic clove because I feel like that's all I need. And honestly, garlic is, I've cut so much garlic in my chef career. Oh man, one of my least favorite things in the world is used to cut like 4 cloves of garlic like per shift when I was working in restaurants. And then like, you know, get home, go to bed, and wake up in the middle of the night and your hand's near your face and you just smell all this. Oh my gosh. That's my association with garlic. I'm sorry if I projected that onto you. That doesn't have to be your association, but yeah, I'm trying to form a different relationship with garlic. And that's the thing, is the more you cook and the more you're in the experience, you'll have a unique relationship with each ingredient. It will bring something out within you. Like tomatillos bring out so much joy within me. Jalapenos bring a lot of safety because of heat, and it's a heat that I appreciate, because other heats are just like, whoo, that's too much. So there, look at that nice char to all of that, because I'm gonna cook this down more. So I'm just getting a nice burn on it for flavor. I don't need a full cook going on right now. And then I'm gonna take the garlic, I'm gonna cut it down, I'm gonna rub some on the beef. But I'm gonna first take the beef, get a new cutting board, cross-contamination. Ooh, it went over a little bit. It'll be okay, I'll cook that down. Then I'm just gonna take half of the meat. I'm gonna put this to the side, because this is all I need for this video. So I got that meat, I'm gonna wash my hands. Got those charring, got a nice smoke developed in my kitchen, because I have no overhead venting. We don't need to talk about that though. I'm still worthy beyond the vents not having no vents. And so I'm getting a really nice char from this now. Like, as you can see, a really nice char. It could go a little bit longer. I mean, I'm gonna cook it down in the pot. And so I don't feel like, oh, I have to push it to this maximum flavor place. It's just like, no, there's a good burn on it. That's gonna work. So I'm gonna take my cutting board that I cooked the meat on and put it over here. I'm gonna wash my knife. I like having both knives ready to go. Yeah, I got these knives in Berkeley, California at a Japanese kitchen / garden store. And oh my gosh, it's just my favorite knife store in the world. Hi to Tools if you're ever in Berkeley. It's a beautiful place. So I have all of this. And so this is the point where I would use the food processor, but since most people don't have food processors, I'm just going to cut this down to show you, and you're gonna mince it down. You are the food processor. All right, and so if you don't have the fingers for it, you can wait for it to cool down, but I'm just gonna go for it. So this doesn't have to be perfect. I'm just rough chopping it down, going back and forth, because later I'm just going to pass my knife through it, so I'm just trying to get it into smaller pieces. You know, and a lot of the times when I cook, it doesn't have to be perfect. I feel like people focus so much on perfect knife skills that we just forget to be in the process of cooking, because there's so many different ways to cut a vegetable. My God, it's so many different ways. So I've cut those down, cut these down. I'm probably gonna start with one jalapeno. So I'm just cutting it down. Seeds in it if you want or not. I'm going to just put that to the side. So I have all this. So this is the moment. I'm gonna throw some garlic in there. The rest I'm gonna put on the beef. So this is the moment where I'm going to, you know, and this is where, you know, cultures use a mortar and pestle. I don't have one right now. And I'm just going to cut this down, because a lot of this will cook down more. And so you don't have to get this ultra fine, but you do want to get it pretty small. And as is in the process of life, we have to break things down. You know, when we're breaking down our worthiness, we have to have the ability to go within ourselves and question what we believe. We have to desire to break down and compost beliefs, you know, what we believe about our identity, how others perceive us, and start to get really back into the truth, you know, the truth of, is what we're believing inside of our mind really supporting us? Is it actually true? And so the more we break down, we begin to actually be in the truth of reality. Did you like how I side tangent in breaking this down into breaking ourselves down? Too good. Sheesh, too good. All right. Now I'm gonna go a little bit faster. It's okay if things fall off. What I like to do is, as I'm cutting, kind of create a line so everything passes through my knife. You know, and then when you're making the salsa, you may have to add a little bit of water so it doesn't start to burn in the pan, depending on how much juice. But I'm getting a little juice coming out of the tomatillos. And a lot of the times, I may not be able to do it on this video, but a lot of the times I like to cook my salsa and then I'll throw it in the freezer to cool it down a bit before I add in the lime and the onions, just so the onions hold their shape really well and the cilantro doesn't cook a little bit and it has just a great freshness to it. That's what I always would recommend when making salsa. We'll see how much time that I have. I'm probably gonna throw it in the freezer and then, you know, just roll with what's happening. So I'm gonna throw that in there. Get a little bit of oil going. Usually if I'm sauteing something, I would not put oil in the pan. I would let the pan heat up and then I would put oil in. Like with the beef, that's how I'm gonna do it. But when I'm just trying to sweat down something and in a pot, I'm just gonna throw the oil in and just, you know, throw it all in and let it gently simmer, because I don't need a really high temperature. I just need it all to. So sweating down is where you're cooking it to where you don't need a caramelization on it. You're just cooking the liquid out of it and you're literally, it looks like it's sweating. So that's why it's called sweating the veg. All right, and I'm gonna throw that in there. And I don't know if you could heard that like just gentle simmer that came on. So that's what you're looking for. And then at this point, I'm gonna turn it down. Oh, I have such sensitive little knobs. Turn it down to like a medium low. I'll move this pan just so you can see. Okay, that's not hot anymore. All right, so I'm gonna take this and clean it off real quick. All right, get myself situated. And I like to clean up as I go. It really allows you to be in a space more of not stressing while you're cooking, to know like, oh, that's why I bring plates. It's like, yeah, I have to do a couple more plates as dishes, but I have everything in a good spot. I have where I can put things that I'm not using. Yeah. Yeah, and then I got the masa here, and I'm debating. I'll probably, what do I want to do? What do I want to do? So I'm gonna move those around, push it all down, add some salt, because I didn't salt yet. A good amount of salt. Like when I salt, I'm adding, probably added, besides what I just moved, like that much salt for everything that I just chopped. Most people, when they cook, will add this much salt, which is half of what I had. And how to know how to salt is because when you salt something, you're just making the ingredient taste more like itself. That really helped me realize how to salt things properly. And then things start to taste like salt. So you're just maximizing how much the ingredient tastes like itself with salt, and then riding the line of when it becomes actually salty. And there's a spectrum to seasoning. You know, a lot of people are like, oh, this is something that's properly seasoned, but all of our palates are different. All of our perceptions of what is properly seasoned is different. So it's a spectrum, and you just have to land within that spectrum, and food will taste amazing. All right, so I'm gonna cut down this garlic. As that goes, I'm gonna put the lid on this so this cooks a little more quickly. Actually, I'm gonna do the masa. Oh, thank God. That would have sucked if I forgot to bring this out. All right, now I'm gonna I just stopped mid-sentence. I like rolling out the masa, or pressing the masa, not rolling it out, with parchment paper, because it just allows it not to stick, and it's just an easier process. So I'll just take some parchment paper, cut it in half. I have that. I'm gonna get my little bowl of water. Yeah, and that's one thing that I've been a journey with this cooking show, is pairing this big philosophical concept with cooking. Sometimes I'm so deep in the food, I'm like, oh wow, what was I talking about? And I have to like pull myself out, and yeah, and I guess that's what I'm appreciating about the rawness of the show, is I'm not trying to overly polish myself. Like, yes, I'm sharing things in a bigger way, in a more polished way, but also I'm doing this live, so you just get to fully experience my process as well. Because that's what so much of finding our worthiness within is, just allowing the organic nature of life to unfold. That we don't have to always force a perception, force a way of being so that people perceive us in a certain way. So I appreciate so much when someone just shows up as their authentic self. And I feel like that's what's missing so much from our society and from our relationships, is actually being ourselves. And a lot of the times when we're claiming our worth, we don't even know ourselves. I feel at times I didn't really find myself until, I've found myself multiple times in life, but I don't feel like I've really found myself until, I guess the strange question is, this answer is to say now. But I feel like in my life I have found myself in ways, but it feels like it's coming to more of a, not a completion, but a totality of understanding the expressions within me, and also discerning what is not me. Because that's another thing. It's like nowadays, not a lot of people actually want to discern our feelings. Like, we either hide from our feelings and we numb out to our feelings, or we're so attached to our feelings and our identity of what's going on within us. that we're not willing to break down and explore more of what's going on within us to really understand of what we are holding within us, if we actually believe it or not. If it's something that we are just conditioned into believing, or if it's actually our belief. And to question that is to really examine our own worthiness, because if we just take all of the ideas from the world, how other people perceive it, religious, spiritual, societal, psychological conditioning, then we don't allow ourselves to really know how we see reality and explore our perceptions of reality, so that life in God can show us what is true and show us what is not true. That to have an experiential existence allows us to really see the truth and the beauty of life, is what I'm simply getting at. Just a simple thing to ponder. So I'm gonna take the masa and I'm gonna put some water on it to smooth it out. And I'm also gonna grab the oil and put a little bit of oil on the parchment so that the masa doesn't stick. And I'll take this and just get it on both sides. Oh yeah, oh yeah. All right, so I have this, and so how much you grab is how big your taco is going to be. For tacos, obviously go a little bit smaller. If you're doing like huevos rancheros or other things of that regard, it's nicer to go bigger. So I'm gonna so as you can see, there's some cracks in it, but I've definitely smoothed it out by adding a little bit of water to it, because if you don't have the proper hydration of your dough, of your masa, then it's going to crack. It's not gonna have the elasticity you need, and that's also why you have to, see now this may be a little too much water, so I'm just gonna get some of the moisture off my fingers. And if you can make bread, if you can make pancakes, you can make a tortilla. Like, people put this idea, homemade tortillas, it's like, no, it is not that hard. It is hard to perfect, it's not hard to do. So I'm gonna put that in there, put the press on. I'm not gonna like slam it down, but I'm gonna give it a good amount of pressure, and then I'm gonna see where I'm at. So you see how it's come out, there's some cracking on the edges. It still has a good, so this may be needing to add a little bit more water to that and get it in there. But this is a great tortilla. I would eat this tortilla. Oh, maybe I should grab more parchment paper. All right. Put my tortillas over there. All right, that's a good starting one. I haven't made tortillas in a second, so I'm gonna take the masa, squish it out, add a tiny bit of water to it. Then I'm gonna work it in. And you can add a little bit to it and work it in, but you really want at the beginning to get it more close enough to a good place. I mean, masa in corn is you're not building gluten strands like in bread, so you can add water to it pretty easily. Oh yeah, that's looking better. And a lot of the times once it sits for an hour, you may have to add a little bit of water to it just because it's going to dry out a bit. Oh yeah, that's feeling a lot better. But yeah, it's so strange nowadays how we have lost homemade tortillas. I'm just sometimes flabbergasted by it. I mean, it's such a simple thing to do. I understand like why restaurants don't do it, but I don't understand why more people don't make them. I mean, you just need a tortilla press, and so I'm gonna, good amount of pressure. Oh yeah, that's a good looking tortilla. Ooh, so there's still some bits on the edge, but that's fine. It's also, this one is a little more uniform. It feels better on the inside. Nice. So I'm just rolling them out because my salsa is cooking down, and that's gonna take some time. But yeah, you know, for me, even though I would consider myself and people would consider me a more spiritual person, that's why I like to use life in God, because it's just really understanding that life lives within us, or God lives within us, but it also lives outside of us. and allowing ourselves to see that there is an energy, a presence that lives beyond us, that is moving reality. It's not all just us. And so within all of that, what am I even getting at? I'm actually gonna, this tortilla press I'm realizing needs a little bit harder of a press than the last one I was using at my last job. So I'm gonna do that. But what was I getting at? What was I getting at? Oh, what I'm getting at is, you know, if you're somebody who pursues claiming your worth through spirituality, or claiming your worth through art, or claiming your worth through healing the land, or claiming your worth through your career, one isn't better than the other, because there is redemption within them all. There is redemption in spirituality, in claiming the beliefs and the ideas that we have about existence, so we can come back into the innate worthiness of God, of the beauty of life. And within our career, it could be claiming our worth and claiming, wow, where did I just go for a second? Claiming our worth, claiming our worth in our career by actually aligning to jobs that fulfill us, to not get ourselves stuck into jobs that make us not feel good enough. And it's like, oh, I don't even want to be here. It's like, yeah, I'm working a normal job right now as a server, but I really appreciate the place that I'm working at. You know, I would rather be, you know, doing other things professionally, but I really appreciate where I'm at. And that's also redemption. And for me, you know, an artistic redemption, an artistic claiming of worth is, you know, a lot of, because putting your art out there, a lot of people criticize and judge, and having a worthiness beyond, if you sell your art, if you make money from your art, or if others appreciate it, but doing it for you is so fulfilling in the redemptive process of your creations. And then, you know, I'm pairing all these things just so you can see a greater perception of claiming worth on many different levels. But, you know, and even earlier I brought up about how there's this idea going around that humans shouldn't be on the earth, that we're toxic to the earth. And it's like, no, the earth is abundant. And if we tend the earth, then we can heal the earth through restoring the watershed, like digging out the trenches again in the waterways. You know, so many permaculture ideas, like building swells so that we collect water so the land becomes more fertile. I mean, and holds more water depth. I mean, there's so much redemption, and you get to explore the avenue and I tried to say wish you wish. In the ways that you wish to explore reality. And so I'm getting into this like I'm feeling this topic and I'm exploring so many narratives. I'm like, whoa, I'm holding a lot right now. But in the claiming of worth, you get to choose your path. You get to choose how you walk. And if it wants to be spiritual, or if it wants to be, you know, more physical to reality, but it feels like we're all pushing for the same thing, which is to know that we are worthy, to find worth within the world, and to know, and also to bring into this place that we are worthy even beyond what we do. That's what I'm getting at. Like if we go into the spiritual, God has made me worthy beyond everything. And then within art, like I am worthy beyond if somebody buys this. And the earth is worthy and abundant beyond if people treat it well. And that's the fabric of reality. And that's the illusions that many live in, is that there isn't innate worthiness and we define ourselves from the external and all of these different things. You know, and getting into more of like religious contexts, the whole idea of, you know, especially, you know, I'm not going to get into Buddhism because Buddhism doesn't really ask this question on a deeper level. It's more about consciousness and just the searching is in not searching, which is very beautiful. And there's a lot to learn within that. And within the Western mindset, you know, because Christianity is the dominant religion, sin, our inherent unworthiness, how this idea has, because I do believe there is in some ways a wickedness to people, maybe not that God has placed within us innately, but that has occurred from free will and from circumstance. But the idea of original sin has so many people's ideas of it have expanded. I mean, if you look at it from the beginning of like how Jesus spoke, he did speak a lot about redemption and liberation, but there wasn't this hard, like, you're an evil person and you deserve hell. It was more like, there's a lot going wrong in the situation and let's redeem it and let's make it beautiful. But there is something bad going on, something sinister. But then religious leaders and how religion has unfolded and people's perceptions of it have taken it to an extreme, to the place of like, there isn't goodness to begin with, there's wrongness and you need to redeem that, instead of what I believe, which is we are good and wrongness has occurred and we are correcting that within our life. Yeah, it's a big one to explore. It's a big one to understand. And yeah, I feel like so many people nowadays live within the mindset that they are not good enough. And I've just experienced so many people suffer in such immense ways for that and live in so much fear, so much turmoil, so much trauma. Yeah, this is it's a really sensitive and deep topic to explore. And then I've also seen other people where there is no belief in wickedness and people just do whatever they want. And then there's a complete other end where it's just, there's no limits to the ways of being, and living out of harmony with life is considered okay. And people don't really know how to align to the greater harmony of life or God. And so I feel like in claiming our worthiness, we also have to be humble with how we show up in life, that we have a big impact on reality. We can bring life or we can bring death, or we can bring nothing. And how are we showing up? Are we bringing beauty to others? Are we bringing care to others? Are we bringing understanding and appreciation and vulnerability? Or are we bringing numbness and pain and despair? Or are we bringing a lack of care, a lack of emotional vulnerability, or gaslighting? And that's like the whole narcissism movement coming in. I mean, there's so many. Oh my God, there's so much to explore in all this. Good thing I'm going to check my salsa. All right. Okay, so this is the point that I was talking about where I may need to add a little bit of water because it's starting to, I'm going to add a little bit of this water, not too much. You just want to add a little bit at a time until you get to a good place, because I just don't want it to burn at the bottom and I want it to fully cook, but that's going to be done really quickly. And then I'm going to clean. Do I want to do, maybe I'll do a couple more. Real quick. Yeah, I have been thinking a lot. I'm a big thinker. I think a lot on a lot of things, and controversial opinions. I'm definitely not as like radical as I used to be. I've definitely realized a lot of my own wrongness in the journey of how I thought reality was. I've been humbled. I have been humbled. Let me tell you, sir, ma'am, I have been humbled. Oh man. But there's so much beauty in being humbled, because then you really get to find yourself. You really get to see the illusions that you live within and choose another way. All right, so I have all those tortillas. Beautiful, beautiful tortillas. My God, like fresh tortillas. They're just such a different experience. I wish I could ship these to you. You can vicariously live through my experience, and when I'm eating it, I'm sorry, that's all I can give. I wish I could give more. I honestly wish I could give so much more. So I'm gonna take the garlic. So now I'm getting the second stage of all of this going. I'm gonna move everything over. Okay, I got the meat. I'm gonna add some salt to the meat to get it ready to cook. And I like adding salt to meat a little earlier than I cook it, so I can pull out the moisture and then pat it down with a towel so that I can get a nicer sear on it. So I'm gonna get a good amount of salt on that. I mean, the classic marinade for beef is usually like spices, chili powder, cumin, coriander, sometimes paprika if you're feeling it, garlic, some type of citrus, because citrus helps break the meat down. And then some people like to do like soy sauce or Worcestershire. I've kind of started to get away from that just because I want the pure flavor of the beef, and I understand like wanting the umami in the soy sauce, but I'm gonna get some umami in the char. So I feel good. I feel good. I'm not, yeah, I just want like the pure fresh flavor. Maybe if I was doing a salsa with a lot more chilies in it, I would be interested in soy sauce just because to build a more complex thing, but I want it to be really fresh. You know, sometimes less is more. So I'm just gonna take this garlic. I'm not gonna add it to the beef until I pat it down to get the water off of it. You know, and I'm just doing this to get, since I didn't char the garlic, and I just love garlic and beef. So that's why I'm adding it. I feel like the tomatillos have enough of everything that's going on within the flavor profile that I don't have to then add it to the beef because I'm already getting all those flavors. It would be nice to, you know, marinate because it does make it a little more tender, but a lot of the taco meat also is like, I'm not cutting it like a ribeye. I'm going to be like cutting it into little cubes so that, yeah, it's already going to be tender enough. So I have all of that. I'm going to grab this pan because as I cook the beef, I can cook the tortillas. I'm going to move this down so I can grab my plate. All right. I'm having some anxiety right now. What's happening? And that's the thing is, you know, a lot of these ideas I've pondered before, but within the pondering, it starts to present new feelings within. Yeah, and it's bringing up a lot of traumas that have happened in my life. A lot of ways that I haven't been treated well. And in those ways that I haven't been treated well, I've questioned my worthiness a lot growing up with some learning disabilities, growing up with some hard pains, social anxiety. I had no sense of worth. I struggled a lot. And I forced myself out of my cage and put myself in situations that were intense just to break free from the anxiety and conditionings. I used to go to this group therapy when I was living in Santa Cruz, and I would just be in a room with people playing authentic relating games where somebody would just facilitate asking questions, and I would just sit in front of somebody and we would be told to ask them what they fear, what they love, to ask the really deep questions. And that group really helped me break out of my shell because I was so afraid to tell people how I really felt. And didn't even know how to. I didn't know how to grab the feelings within me and put them into words. And I remember it takes a lot of courage. I remember I was working a job as a chef and I used to have a lot of social anxiety. My coworkers asked me to hang out and I really liked them. And I had so much anxiety of hanging out with them because they were going to a bar and I didn't drink that much. And I had a hard time hearing people in loud places because of my auditory issues. And I drove past the bar and I was driving home and I just hit this point of like, if I want to be free from this anxiety, I have to move through it. Shout out to my dad, and I forgot who wrote the book, The Obstacle is the Way. And I moved through it and I had a really beautiful experience with them, and it really pushed me to come out of my shell. And they held me in a beautiful way. Maybe one day Chloe, Lauren, or Bo will see this. Who knows? Appreciate you guys. So yeah, that was my vulnerable moment. It's good to be vulnerable. It's good to, realize that, before I became, I'm going to turn this off because I just want to check it. Before I became a chef, I knew nothing. I knew nothing about cooking. I dove myself into the art. Before I learned how to really talk to people and really learned how to express myself, I was so shut down and had no sense of worth. And not like my parents weren't super loving, which they were. There was just deeper things that were going on with me, and having social anxiety issues and being different can be challenging in the world. And for a long time, I looked at it as a curse. And I finally realized it was a blessing because I perceive reality in such a different way than most do. And I'm really grateful for that. I'm really grateful that I'm different. So if you're different, realize it's a blessing and not a curse. And I guess that is the foundation of what I'm getting at in this video, is all of this is a blessing and not a curse. To everything that I've explained, to our sense of worth, to how life operates, to all these things, it's a blessing. It's not a curse. So I'm going to take the meat. I'm going to pat it down. Get some of the water off of it. Then I'm going to add the garlic. Get that in there. Oh, this is going to be good. This is going to be nice. Oh, I've been wanting a good taco. Whoo, I've been wanting a good taco. I've been wanting a good taco. This is going to be nice. All right. So the meat I'm going to cook with a little bit of oil. The tortillas, I'm going to put no oil in there, and I'm just going to throw them in dry. All right, and then within all that, I still have to, wow, getting a little disorganized. Is everything still in the shot? It's all good. So the lime, I'm gonna have, okay, I didn't cut the meat yet. I'm gonna have some lime that I squeeze on the plate, and then I'm also gonna squeeze some lime into there. Once that's done, oh, what I was gonna do is I'm gonna take this, I'm going to get a plate so I don't burn my inside of my oven, and I'm going to place, oh God. Oh, I should have prepared ahead for this. Oh no, I figured it out. And I'm gonna place that in there with the lid off. I mean, I'm gonna lose a lot of, oh gosh. Whew. I'm gonna lose a lot of, the temperature is gonna drop significantly in there, but I want that salsa to cool down a little bit, because hot salsa just, it's not the business. It's not the business. So I'm gonna turn, I've had these going for a bit on medium, and I'm gonna turn them, not medium low. They were probably a little over medium, and now they're a little under medium. And then I'm gonna add the oil to saute the beef. Oh, there's a little water in there. I'm gonna take the onions real quick and give them a good little mince to put in the salsa and on top of the taco. So I'll probably put, oh man, I didn't explain any of the ratios. It's hard being someone who just knows how to do these things. I am going to write the recipes down and put them in the description on YouTube. But in the moment, it's easier for me afterwards for some reason to like ponder all of it than in the moment explain it. I just kind of like to be in the flow of it. I'll get better at that. I know people need to, well, I had the whole rant earlier about how I don't use recipes, but no shame, no guilt. I'm here for it all. All right. And so you go through the onion, not all the way to the end. You don't want to cut, you only want to cut off the little bit. You don't want to cut off more, because that core is what's holding the onion together. Hey, you calm down over there. You calm down over there, mister. I also just have these moments when I'm cooking where like I go really slow and I'm methodical, and then I'm like, cut the onion, cut the onion. It's fun. Oh, no onion cutting board. Whatever. See, it's not always perfect. Life isn't perfect. Throw that over there. All right, I got those. I want my cilantro. Got my limes. So I probably won't use all this. I'm just getting a lot of it ready. All right. Away from you with the beef. Away with you, beef. All right. Get a little wash on there. Just a little bit of water just to make that pan not crusty. Make that plate not crusty. Oh, yeah. Woo. And you can get it however you want it to be chopped. Just, you know, a nice taco chop. Nice. That's good. All right, and now I'm gonna throw some of these tortillas in. Actually, I'm gonna wait on the tortillas. I need the beef to cook first. I need the beef to cook first. Yeah, it's all coming together. This is gonna be a good meal. This is gonna be great. Oh man, a little bit of water. I like how I'm narrating everything to you. Oh, a little chop, a little bit of water. This is fun. It's fun in the process of art to discover yourself, discover how you show up, how you want it to be. And I just appreciate so much how this isn't polished, because I can just be more of myself and I don't have to like, oh, am I speaking in the right way or am I showing up in the right way? It's like, no, I'm just being myself. And I hope you appreciate that. And I just put this in one of my tortillas, so whoopsie. All right, I'm gonna crank this up a little bit. So I kind of messed up a tiny bit. With this, I want it to be, get it up to heat, then put it to medium low. With this, I'm probably gonna have it medium high and just building smoke and yeah, so I can really develop a good crust. I grabbed the thicker piece of the skirt steak. So I'm gonna take the skirt steak, cook it, sear it, let it rest, and then once it's rested a little bit, I'm gonna cut it down into cubes and then probably throw it back in. And really, with a good taco, if I'm not doing a ribeye, especially with this type of meat, because skirt steak has a little bit more of a chew to it, so you have to cook it a little further so it's easier to rip. So yeah, I like it probably more in like the medium well done place with the taco. Unless it's a ribeye taco, then that's a whole different thing. Oh yeah, this is getting, oh yeah. Oh yeah. All that garlic is cooking. The garlic's probably gonna burn, which is gonna give, or char, which is gonna give a nice flavor to it all. Yeah, we're chilling. I'm gonna go check my salsa. So what I'll do is, since I'm trying to speed this up, is, you know, if you have to make a salsa really quick, usually I would just throw it in the fridge, but since I'm trying to get this done, oh yeah, that's nice, is I'll just stir it to release some of the heat and then put it back in there. Put it back in the not super cold anymore freezer because I put something hot in there. Nice. That's looking good. Yeah, you know, and I hope from this video, there's an inspiration to really examine the parts of your life to where you feel unworthy, to where you feel like you're not enough, and to know that you are in really simple forms. And it takes a courage to go inward, to feel an emotion, to feel an energy, to feel a sensation within you, and to massage that out as you step even deeper behind and hold that light of worthiness and love and shine that upon the part of you that feels stuck or unworthy. It can be strange to, at the same time, hold that love and that adornment and that appreciation while being stuck in the pain. And holding those two realities and letting one shine upon the other and allowing it to emerge and unravel. Oh, let's flip that. Oh, look at that. Whoo, that's nice. So some of the garlic is a little burned. Whoopsie. So I'm just gonna take it out or push it to the side. I don't really care if it burns over here. And I knew going in that this would occur. It's kind of what I'm going for. I want this, you know, because burn isn't wrong. I mean, you don't want to burn like the tortilla, you want to char it or the steak, but a little bit of burn creates a beautiful, acrid flavor profile. And so, yeah, I'm just letting the garlic cook, and any of like the truly burnt pieces, I'm just pushing to the side so it stops cooking into the meat and just rolling with it. I mean, a lot of the times you would be doing this on a grill, so a lot of those pieces would just fall through and you wouldn't have to deal with it. So yeah, I'm just letting you know that from how this is all unfolding. All right. And like I really want to cook these tortillas, but I know I have to wait for this. And that's the thing with cooking is like knowing how things finish and knowing how you want it done so it all ends up in a perfect place at the same time. So it's just the perfect bite, even though I said let go of perfection. And I mean, if things aren't exactly as they are, it's fine, but it's getting them into the spectrum of, yeah, the apex of how you wish the ingredient to be as you all bring them together. You know, the salsa cooling down so it's a nice, not overly cold, but not hot salsa with the meat just being done and still really warm. And then the tortilla cooling down a little bit. And then, oh, all the fresh vegetables and the, squeezing the lime juice. Oh, I forgot to squeeze the lime juice into my salsa. Don't forget. Nice. Oh, I made that shot. All right. So that's still cooking. Shit. All right, so I'm gonna take this off as meat drops everywhere. I need a plate. I need a plate. All right. I'm gonna take this off, let it rest, and then I'll cut it. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. All right, now I'm gonna take some tortillas. So this should be hot enough that these should slide. They should not be sticking. Because I let it go for a long time on that medium heat. There's already salted the tortillas, so I don't have to salt them now. I got the beef resting. That's probably at medium, and then that'll be a good place to finish it. With a pan this hot, do not put water on it. You will burn, you will burn everything down. You will start a grease fire. What I usually do is just take a paper towel and just be really careful and just throw that in the sink and just getting some of that out. Yeah, that'll be good for now. All right, and then I got the tortillas. You know, if you're a G, you'll do this by hand, but if not, use one of these guys. Yeah, this is all coming together really nicely. Well, I appreciate you being here. I appreciate the smoke haze that's coming between us. I'm actually gonna go open the window, so. Just to get a little bit of air in here. I appreciate you being here. I appreciate all that's unraveled and just sharing with you of what's going on within you. And just taking a moment to really be present with yourself. Maybe taking some breaths, sip of water. Like, where's your mind at? Where's your body at? Where's your emotions at? Like, what are you experiencing? And just be with yourself. And don't try to figure it out. I feel like in the journey of claiming our worth, we're always trying to figure it out. And maybe going back to more of that Buddhist approach. And when we're not seeking, we find it. Because it's just there. Because if we're in our mind trying to search all these different places all the time, and the mind is a beautiful place, but it doesn't always, what does it not always do? The mind doesn't always take us to that feeling of worth. We find it within our body, within our spirit, and the mind is a reflection of that. And so we have to sometimes drop out of our mind to get into that place of just the sensation and the experience that's occurring within us. Have fun. Okay, these tortillas are looking nice, just making sure they're cooked all the way through. I'm gonna usually I like to let the meat rest a little longer, but for the sake of the video, I'm gonna do it now. You know, and I'm also, you know, when I'm cooking for events as a chef, I'm a little bit more like getting everything fine-tuned. But when I'm at home, just enjoy the process. You know, if there's something inside of you that wants to move a little faster, move a little bit faster. You know, and you'll know that you'll know by how when it's done cooking if you need to slow down or you need to reevaluate. But allow yourself to have your authentic experience. And so Always with beef, the grain of the meat is going this way. It only has one way, so it's kind of like that, the grain. You want to cut against the grain of the meat. So I'm just cutting it into the shape of doing little cubes. That's a nice medium. It's always a good feeling when you're like, oh, this is a medium. And then it actually is, you're like, yeah. Oh yeah. Cool. And so then I'm gonna do that. And then I'm gonna cut this way. Usually most would have to keep using tongs, but my fingers are more heat resistance. All right, I'm gonna have a piece. Oh yeah. All right, that's the good stuff. I'm gonna turn this back on. We'll take these tortillas. I think those ones are good. I'm gonna do some more. Oh, rip that one a little bit. All right, now I'm gonna take this meat. And the reason that you don't want medium is just because then you're not gonna get the easy pull of the taco bite. You're gonna get all this chew. And I think a really good taco just doesn't have a lot of chew to it besides if it's like a ribeye taco or you want that flavor. I mean, it's depending on what you want, but the classic taco is usually medium well done. Heat resistant spatula, so good. So I'm gonna cook this down for a little bit. I could probably, once it comes out, chop it down a little bit more just to get that like really fine taco cut. All right. Wow, this is all coming together. How to begin? Well, the taco is gonna be the star of the ending of the show, but I'm trying to, I mean, we've explored so much together. We've really gone in deep. It's like, what am I taking away from all of this? What are you taking away from all of this? And that's your decision, you know, and I feel like I'm presenting definitely the side of you are inherently worthy, not inherently sinful. And so explore that for yourself. Allow yourself to go within and is that true for you or not? You know, is that the truth of reality or not? And that's the big thing for me is, you know, at times it can be hard to be like, this is what is actually real. But when we don't do that, we live in uncertainty. So yeah, I'm not here to preach the truth. I'm here to share what I believe to be true. And I hope that resonates with you. And to be a kind, caring human being that wants to see others thrive, that wants to build bridges, not burn them down, and wants to change. I mean, I have not always been this way, and I want to change. I want to evolve and be a good person, a better person, and realize that I am a good person at heart. And I know you are too. All right, this is looking good. Flip that over. I'm gonna turn that up just a tiny bit. All right. I want to try it, but look at that. A little cracking. Not too bad. Maybe I could add a little bit more water to it, but it'll be great. As long as it holds together is the main drive of it. You know, and that's the thing is like, I know the process of how to do so many things. I don't always do it to perfection every time. That's not what this YouTube channel is about. That's not what cooking is about. But it's getting it to the spectrum of, this works really well. That's how I live my life, like in the spectrum of like, this works, this is great. You know, and that's what cooking's taught me, like going from like mission level chef cooking to what I do nowadays. It's taking a lot of that pressure off, like life being so rigid to the point of perfection, and more like perfection is in a spectrum, like beauty is in a spectrum, and yeah, like get the ego out of it. And, you know, like allow it to be a beautiful process. So I'm going to take the beef. I'm going to put it back on my plate. I'm going to turn that off. Oh yeah, I mean, look at that. Oh my gosh, that's gonna be good. Oh, busted out my Fiesta ware. Woo! I'm gonna flip those tortillas. No, I'm gonna flip them back. All right, so those are cooking. I got this, I'm gonna go grab my salsa. Oh man, it's all coming together. Woo, I'm excited. I'm excited. Wow. This is gonna be a good taco. Woo. If you ever had one of my tacos, I'm happy I got to make it for you. I don't know what I was trying to get at there. I just I had a moment. All right. So that's done. I'm gonna check for, just finish up if I need to add any more salt or lime or if that's done. And you can see that it's pretty chunky still, but it's cooked down so much so. And I like a chunkier salsa. I don't like a pure, that's why I use the food processor, because it creates still like this chunky texture. If you use a blender, you're gonna get more of a puree. I don't want a puree. I want a chunky salsa. And I don't even know if you could call it a salsa if it's pureed, because yeah, salsa is like cooked down, still has bits in it. I mean, yeah, at that point it would be more getting too meta with this. Whatever. It can be whatever you want it to be. There's no limitations. But I like a chunky salsa. Ooh, these tortillas are really good. I'm gonna throw these back on just to warm them up a bit. All right. I'm gonna take these, move them to the side for the moment. All right. Get my plate. This is gonna be good. This is gonna be a good one. Get the limes. Little onion. I'm gonna put them on top too. I'm just garnishing the plate. Oh yeah. All right, and then I'm gonna take, you get out of here, you. I'm gonna take the beef and put it down. So yeah, this is a nice, well done, medium well. Just gonna cut it down into little cubes. It doesn't need to be perfect, just finding pieces and chopping them down. Oh yeah. Those tortillas are probably done. Okay, good enough, good enough. Take these tortillas. All right, and now for the plating. Clean up a bit, and by clean up I mean just push everything over so you don't see it. Just kidding. Or am I? All right, I'm gonna move this, and now for plating. So I'm gonna take the taco meat. Oh my gosh, I am so excited. And then I'm gonna spoon on the salsa. Ooh. Sheesh. Whew. Then I'll take some of this, get rid of the big pieces. Oh my gosh. And I'll take some of that. Oh my gosh, we have come to the end of this journey. And then take some lime. Wow. And there you have it. Carne Asada Tacos. Oh my gosh. Those look so good. Oh, gosh. Oh my gosh. Look at them. They look so good. Wow. All right. Done being dramatic. Here we go for the bites. Oh, these are just perfect little tacos. Wow. Thank you for being here with me, and yeah, appreciate you. Oh. Mmm. 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 Oh my God. I don't know if it gets much better than this. Not in the sense of like I made the best taco in the world, but more in the sense of just this concept. Oh my gosh. Wow. Wow. Here, one more close up. Oh. The lighting. Ah, there it is. We made it to the end of the journey. Yeah. Yeah, I feel like I shared so much that this last little bit, it was a little more of me reflecting internally without words, just all that was shared, the being with the taco. And yeah, you know, from this video, I hope that you take away that you don't have to have it all figured out at this moment, that you move through life, and God, life will present to you circumstances, situations to have you find yourself on a deeper level. And to really surrender into that is the journey of becoming who you are really meant to be and claiming your worth. And as you're simultaneously claiming your worth and claiming your value, you are already valuable. You are already worthy. Beyond anything you do. Beyond anything you do. You are already worthy. In my eyes. And what I also believe God to be. What I believe life to be. Because I believe life is a beautiful thing. I believe that God wants goodness for us. And I believe that when we really surrender into that, life changes dramatically. And we begin to have experiences that show us on a deeper level how much we are loved. And experiences that take us out of that love, we have more boundaries with, we're more discerning with. And we know what we want out of life because we have surrendered into our worth, and life will present to us that beauty. It's that simple. And make good tacos along the way as you remember how beautiful you are, how worthy you are, and that you are enough. Thank you for being here. It's been an honor. It's been a privilege. It's been a pleasure. Until next time.